Hey guys, Josh Mall with Swimming Pool Science, and today we are talking poles, nets, and brushes. You know, there's a lot of different poles and nets and brushes and different skimming devices that you have out there for all kinds of different uses, but finding the right one for you, well, that's important because it's going to save you a lot of time and energy. So we've got some great selection here. I'm at one of my favorite places to shop, my local mom and pop pool store. And so let's take a quick look at some of the different nets we have. So right here, we'll start with the extremes. I got this one here that's called the Gator. We got this little guy right here with a little silt bag. Now, of course, a net like this is going to be really good if you've got maybe a small fountain or something like that you can't really vacuum out. So this one has got this great silt bag on it that's going to allow you to scoop up dirt and dust and some of those finer particles that you just can't get out and you can't vacuum. So this is a great little device, but not so good if you got an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Now, you might be thinking to go with a net like this big here, this monster right here, the Gator. And I used this for a little while because I always thought bigger was better, but the drawbacks that come with a net this big is that you've got to push this net around. When this bag starts to fill up with leaves, now all of a sudden you put yourself into a first-class core workout. So it's going to take a lot of energy to push a big net like this around a pool, especially when it fills with leaves. The other thing is getting a bag like this with so many leaves. You see how deep this bag is. It's almost 24 inches deep. You get so many leaves in here, and all of a sudden you pull that pole back, and that bag can sometimes push back, and then all those leaves are back in the pool. So, you know, I prefer personally something about this big. This is a medium-sized bag. Not too big, not too small. It's easy to whip it around the pool and get around. It's got plenty of bag in it, and I can empty it on a regular basis without having too much trouble. And what I like about these is they've got this nice lip right here, which is great for scooping out of the bottom of the pool. If you get debris on the bottom, you can actually scoop it up with like a scooping motion. And this is a great net. This is what we would call in the industry a leaf rake. That's what all these are. Now you also have skimmer nets, so this right here is your leaf skimmer, and you can see here, great for getting a few little leaves here, but if you got lots of leaves, you're going to be continually dumping this one out, dumping it out, and it's not real efficient. This is on a small pool. It's all kind of put together, a one size unit, and so it's great for maybe if you have a little spa or you have a little water feature or a kid's pool or something like that. This is okay. This isn't bad, but for my money, I don't waste my time with something like this. I just go to something like this, or even something as small as this, because this is going to hold more. All my stuff's going to stay in there, and I don't have to dump it as much. So there's all different shapes and sizes of skimmer nets that you can buy, or leaf rakes. This is a lower price one. This is one you might find at like a Home Depot or your local national chain pool supply store. And it's got a very small lip compared to, say, this guy right here. And you can see the construction difference on this thing. This is more commercial grade. This is professional use. This is what my guys use. This is what we use out in the field. This is more the speed of a homeowner. The problem with this is that if you're going to be cleaning your pool a whole bunch, 2 or 3, 4 times a week, you've got a lot of leaves, this one might not be up to snuff. You might be replacing this one pretty quick. Our guys essentially burn through these leaf rakes about once every 6 to 9 months. But what I love about these is that I can go and I can get rebuild kits for these. So my frame's in good shape, everything's good. I've just got to replace this plastic that wears down right here, and maybe my net that's got some holes in it. And so I can keep using this over and over and over again. It's a great part. Now let's talk brushes. Your pool surface is going to dictate the type of brush you are going to use. Those of you with fiberglass, painted pools, vinyl pools, you want these nylon bristles. This is what you want. What you do not want, you do not want a stainless steel brush for any fiberglass, any painted, any vinyl pools. This will work on pebble, plaster, even tile, but this is too aggressive for those other types of pools. This will damage the surface. Now those of you watching in Arizona, be careful, because these brushes, when you leave them out in the sun, especially these nylon brushes, these bristles, I can take an old brush, and when I go like this, all those sun-damaged bristles will just go flying right off. You got to brush a pool down with one of these that's been just laying out in the sun and just beat. All those bristles will come right off in the pool. So it's important, too, to keep this stuff out of the sun, keep it in the shade so it'll last a long time. Also, remember, You want to lay these face up, because if you lay it on the ground and maybe they sit in something like this, they get a rock or something that they're laying on, all of a sudden you're going to pull it out and those bristles, they're going to sit bent and they're not going to go back. So you want to make sure that when you're done with your brush, it's clean, you give it a quick rinse, do it face up, do it in the shade where it's going to hold this nice bristle structure like we have on this one that's brand new. The happy medium, the brush that I like to use, is this 24-inch combination brush. And what this has got a mixture of the nylon and stainless steel bristles in it, which is great. So it's not too aggressive, but also it'll help me get off any kind of algae, and it's just a little bit tougher than your full nylon brush. Now, we go through these brushes about every 6 months. Remember, we're cleaning 50 pools a week. For you, the homeowner, that's about what you guys would do in a year, or maybe just a little bit less. But you know, we'll see these brushes get worn down. We actually round off the corners. We're breaking off bristles. They get worn down, but you know, we're using them all the time. They're getting used 50 to 60 times a week here at Swimming Pool Science. But this is my type of brush. This is an A&B manufacturing brush, and they have a really good heavy-duty brush that it's going to be a heck of a lot pricier than your normal brush you might find at your local box store, but it's also going to hold up a lot better. We have some other types of brushes, I don't want to call them gimmick brushes, but they have some extra little added features that are supposed to help you brush. For example, we've got this one. It's called a Sweep Ease, and it's basically got a spoiler here that as you brush, that pushes it against your surface, so you can actually brush easier. It's not you trying to push that down and in, but as you push the brush down, this wing or spoiler will push it against the wall and give it a firmer, harder brush. These are cool, they're okay, they're a little different. For me personally, I like the standard old brush. I like to work and get my exercise and use my muscles. But if you're maybe, you know, you're disabled or something like that, or you're just not as strong as you used to be, this is a good type of brush to get into those hard to reach spots, or those tough spots that you really have to brush hard. You've also got a brush like this. This is a vacuum brush, and basically what it is we've got a place where we can connect a hose to, suction line, and this will vacuum as you brush. These are great for vinyl pools, smaller pools, above ground pools, things like that. This is kind of a neat option, but once again, you always want to make sure you keep this out of the sun and store it correctly so that it stays in good shape and you get your money's worth. Do you get a big brush or do you get a small brush? Well, that all depends. If you've got a nice big rectangular pool with lots of right angles, you can use a big brush like this 36-inch guy right here. We keep a couple of these at Swimming Pool Science. The problem you run into is if you have a free-form pool or a curved pool with lots of rounded edges and corners and things like that, when I brush, guess what's going to happen? Only the two outside edges are going to be doing brushing, and this whole piece gets missed here. Or if it's the opposite, I've only got this little section right here that's getting brushed, and this actually will take me longer to brush a pool than, say, a brush of this size to really get all the surfaces. So depending on your pool shape, like I said, nice big rectangular pool, maybe the bigger brush is going to be a better thing, and this is going to save you a lot of time. If you got a free-form pool, you're going to want a smaller brush like this, and you can see on this one, they've actually angled up the edges so that you can get in those corners and get the whole thing brushed. Think about that distance on that brush, that width you have there, and how it's going to affect how you're able to properly brush your pool, which you should be doing once a week at least, right? You're at least doing it once a week. It's like brushing your teeth. I always brush once a week. Let's take a quick look at some vacuums. You got a lot of different choices out there, and of course your most basic thing you can get, we touched on this earlier, is this vacuum brush. It's basically is a brush that has a hole in the end that you can hook to a hose and vacuum as you brush. Now this is okay for above ground pools or small things, maybe even a little spa or something like that. They have another style here. This guy right here, basically the same thing, just a different shape, and it's essentially a vacuum brush. You hook a hose, you connect it, and you run it. Now, when it comes to standard vacuums like this guy here, you can go with something like this. Something like this is going to cost you $35 or $40, and it's going to be pretty reliable. Put it away every day, take care of it, keep it nice and straight. The big one, like this guy right here, something like this is going to set you back over $100. Now this has got 8 wheels on it, or 12 wheels rather. It's got ball bearings in it. This whole thing is weighted. It's got the replaceable skirts here to maximize suction. The only problem with a vacuum this big is that sometimes you get streaking in your pools. You really need a lot of suction to run a vacuum this big and this wide. For us here at Swimming Pool Science, we like to run the 8-wheel vacs. We run up a grade higher than this, a more commercial grade, and it's perfect. We don't get streaks, and although it doesn't cover as wide a range of a path, it just vacuums a little more effectively than something as big as this beast right here. So, like I said, figure out what's going to work best for you. You got an above ground pool or something small, maybe something like this brush vac is going to work good. More traditional pool, you're probably going to want to go with something like this. So let's talk about poles for a minute. They don't come in all different shapes and sizes. They're only one shape, long and skinny and straight, hopefully if you're getting a good pole. But they do come in different lengths. You can get up to a 24-foot length telescoping pole. We do use those here at Swimming Pool Science for our bigger commercial pools. But you can also get shorter 6-foot poles and ones that have double and triple telescoping lengths on them. Now, the more you pay for a pole, the better it's going to be. You're going to get a higher quality pole. Some of them have the twist lock cam, or they have the collar, or sometimes they have both, or they're like a paint pole where they have the ratcheting holes. Some are more flexible than others. Some will bend more than others, and that's what you're looking at. So, you know, if you don't find one that meets your needs, definitely talk to your local mom and pop pool store, because they can order you a pole that's going to fit your needs. Guys, I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope this kind of clears up some of the mysteries and myths behind which pole, net, brush, and even vacuum is best for you to use. So keep watching, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.